Hello everybody, my name is Leo and with this video, as you requested, we will share a direct comparison between the Headrush MX5 and the Line 6 PodGo. First of all, we will hear the units in action with the demo song, then we will compare the features and technical characteristics of the two units with a very detailed comparison chart. Then we will hear more sounds, also comparing the units with real tube amps, checking out the frequency response, the dynamic range management and the note envelope. And finally, I will give you my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoy and please subscribe and hit the bell, as it's gonna really help me to make more videos like this. Let's start with the demo song. We will now compare the two units among the following parameters: number of amps, cabs and mics built-in, third-party IRs availability, number of effects and effect chain management in general, MIDI availability, inputs and outputs, foot switches and expression pedal, screen size and type, computer app availability, looper and drum machine, ADA conversion and USB channels, current power dimensions, weight and price. First of all, in the MX5 we have 46 amps, 15 cabs and 10 mics, where you can set only if the mic is on axis or not, but not the position or distance. On the other hand, in the PodGo we have 83 amps, 39 cabs and 16 mics, where you can change the distance of the mic but not the position. I would give the thumbs up to the PodGo as it offers more amps and cabs. Let me just say that for both the units the mic simulation is pretty poor. For instance, in the MX5 you can decide only if the mic is on axis or not. And in the PodGo you can change the distance but not the position. Now, the mic positioning has really a big impact on the tone, therefore I don't understand why it is so poor modeled in these units. As regards third-party IRs, we have 300 user slots in the MX5, and if I understood it well, you can even go beyond the 300 slots and 128 slots in the PodGo. The MX5 can load IRs up to 2048 sample points, where the PodGo can reach 1024 sample points. Therefore, thumbs up to the MX5. Let's now talk about effects and effects chain management. The MX5 offers more than 63 effects arranged in 11 blocks that you can put in whatever order you want, with the possibility to have parallel effects and with 3 types of signal chains allowed. As shown in the picture, the signal chain can be serial, parallel with 3 effects blocks before the parallel split and 2 after, or parallel with 2 chains of 4 parallel effects and 3 serial effects after the parallel split. In the PodGo we have more than 190 effects arranged in 10 blocks and 4 blocks where you can assign whatever effect you want. Therefore, I would give the thumbs up to the MX5 even if it offers less effects, as it has a way more flexible signal chain and more effects blocks. The MX5 offers MIDI connectivity via mini jacks, where in the PodGo you need to use MIDI over USB, as it lacks physical MIDI connections. As regards input and output, the MX5 has a guitar in, a stereo effect loop via TRS jacks, balanced TRS outputs, an headphone out and an aux in. In the PodGo we have a guitar input, a stereo effect loop via TRS jacks, balanced TRS outputs, an amp out and an headphone out. Here I would give the thumbs up to both the units, as they are among the modelers with the most complete array of I/O in this price range. As regards the foot switches, the MX5 has 3 foot switches where the PodGo has 8 foot switches. Therefore, I would give the thumbs up to the PodGo. The screen of the PodGo is 4.3 inches and it is not touch sensitive, where the screen of the MX5 is smaller at 4 inches, but it is touch sensitive. Therefore, I would give the thumbs up to the MX5. Furthermore, the MX5 is missing a computer app, while the PodGo has a very complete computer app for creating and tweaking presets and managing more generally the unit. The MX5 offers longer loopers and neither of the unit offer a drum machine. As regards ADA conversions, both the unit offer a 4x4 USB channels audio interface and up to 96 kHz at 24 bits converters. Therefore, I would say that they are on par. As regards power needs, I would give a thumbs down to both the units, as they require a lot of current at 2500 mAh for the PodGo and 3000 for the MX5, without even offering a plug out, for instance, for feeding an external effect. And requiring so much power, it is pretty hard to use these units with our standard power pedalboard adapters. As regards dimensions and weight, the MX5 is smaller and lighter. And finally, as regards the price, the PodGo is cheaper, but it is out in the market since many months, and therefore the price of the MX5 could drop getting closer to the PodGo. So I wouldn't give any thumbs up or down in the price category. So finally, let's count the red and green thumbs. Suspense. We have 8 greens with 4 reds for the MX5 and 5 greens and 7 reds for the PodGo. Obviously, it is just a technical comparison without considering that each feature could have a different importance for you. And so, for instance, you could prefer the MX5 for the more flexible effect signal chain, or the PodGo for the computer app availability or the availability of more foot switches. But if you just algebraically sum the reds and greens, the MX5 seems to be a little bit better. Let's now hear some more sounds. Welcome in the more sound section of this video. We will now compare the modelers versus a real valve amp that is connected to a greenback speaker and with everything to none, where in both the modelers I have loaded their simulations of the real amp with the IR I made for the speaker I'm using with the real amp. We will be testing the frequency response, the dynamic range management and the note envelope of the real deal versus the modelers, playing few licks with the guitar. I have already recorded the DI tracks of the licks in my digital audio workstation, so we are sure that we are gonna send the same exact lick to the modelers and the real amp without introducing little human errors derived from the fact that it is impossible to play the same lick many times without little variations. I'm a human and not a robot, and therefore each time I play a lick I can introduce a little variation in the position of the pick or the force I apply, etc. So, human errors avoided here. These are the 5 licks I will be using. I will use the first two to match the frequency response. I mean, we will hear the amp and the modelers with everything set to none, and then I will tweak the modelers to sound as close as possible to the real amp using these two licks. Then, with the third lick, we will test the dynamic response of the modelers. I mean, the way the modelers cleans up and break up according to the volume of your guitar or how soft or hard you push the strings. And with the fourth and fifth lick, we will check out the note envelope management of the modelers versus the real deal. I will let you now hear the tests and I will not say anything so that you can make your own idea without being influenced by mine. And we'll discuss the results later on in the My 2 cents section of this video. Let's start! Final considerations here, and please notice that these are gonna be my personal opinions for my specific use cases, and of course you may not agree with me, and this is totally fine. Let me share the stronger selling points in my opinion of each unit. Home recording. Here I think that both the unit shine with the 4 USB channels and the possibility to reach 48 kHz conversions rate, that is the one I always use. But the PodGo has one advantage, as it has a computer app that is missing in the MX5, that lets you control the modeler directly from the screen of your computer without having to reach out the modeler while recording. Live use. Here the PodGo is in pole position, I would say, with its 8 foot switches against the 3 of the MX5. And of course it is more usable in live situations. Of course you can add an external MIDI control to the MX5 thanks to its MIDI in, but it is another thing to buy and to carry around with you. Easiness of use. Well, here it depends. The MX5 has a touchscreen, but it is missing a computer app, where the PodGo does not have a touchscreen, but it has a very complete computer app. In my use case, I prefer the computer app, as I typically build the presets at home and I just tweak them a little bit live, and for recording I want everything on the screen on the computer without reaching out to the modeler. But it depends from your use case. Amp sound. If you hear at the demo song, I think that it's pretty difficult to tell which is which. In the more sound section we have also heard a detailed comparison of the two modelers versus a real valve amp, and I think that especially if you hear the modelers with the exact same setting of the real amp, the, I would say, tonal characteristics of each unit are emerging. The Headrush is typically less gainy, with a pretty good recreation of the frequency response of the real amp, where the PodGo is more gainy and more close to the real deal than the MX5 in terms of gain. But you have to tweak pretty extensively the PodGo frequency response if you want it to sound like the real deal. Actually, I found myself tweaking a lot the PodGo in order to get close to the real deal, also touching the bias of the PodGo, trying to get close. I mean, I found it easier to get close to the real deal with the MX5 and with the MG30, if you have seen my last video, than with the PodGo. But maybe this could also derive from the fact that the PodGo has more parameters to tweak at your disposal, therefore requiring more time to explore them all. In terms of dynamic response and the note envelope, they are both doing a good job. Therefore, here I would say that it really depends on your taste and if you want more tweaking options or you prefer just the most relevant parameters at your disposal. Effects. As regards effects, in my opinion, the MX5 is better, as it offers a more flexible signal chain. Yes, the PodGo has more effects, but I think that a more flexible signal chain with parallel effects routing, the possibility to place effects in whatever order you want, and 11 blocks instead of 10 is more valuable than having more effects. So, overall, in my opinion, the stronger selling points of the MX5 versus the PodGo are its flexible signal chain and its compactness, where the ones of the PodGo are the computer app availability and the 8 foot switches instead of the 3 that are pretty handy to have, especially while jigging or live use in general. This is obviously my point of view and I would like to know your opinions and which one of the two units you would choose in your use case, and also if the sound differences that you can check out in the demo song or in the more sound section of this video are a key deciding factor for you. So please let me know in the comments below your very valuable opinions. These were my final 2 cents. We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and leave a thumbs up. It would be of a great help. If you're interested in my IRs or in my camper profiles, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to a playlist of songs of mine. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video. Bye bye!